Hey guys, it's Diego Creations here, and today I've been thinking a lot about it while I'm at work, and so today we are going to talk about labels, like the social kind. So today, like I said, we're talking about labels, and labels in the social example are can be good and bad. Now, there's people who don't like labels. They don't like being put in a box or being subject to a certain stereotype or prejudice and things of that sort. Labels aren't always a bad thing, though. In my mind, at least, when I think of somebody that I've just met, in my head they do get put in a box, but the way you express is differently. So if I meet you at Taco Bell and I know you like the bean burrito, and I'm like, okay. So now when I see you again, I'm like, oh, I remember you. You like bean burritos from Taco Bell. Because at that moment, it's the only information I know about you. But I can say that because that's not sensitive information. Someone's family life, or home life, you could say, someone's family, I guess that was a better example, someone's family, someone's orientation, someone's identity that is out of the norm, I guess you can say. These are things that can be considered, these things can be considered sensitive information. So, with that idea, it's now based on you, how you express it to the other person. Knowing this information, so say you have a friend, now they have a rough home life, their dad can be an alcoholic, their mom could be a druggie, or they just have fighting parents, and these things are things that happen. But if you see them again, and you know this is sensitive information, or something that they may be uncomfortable with, you shouldn't be the first thing you should ask about, or say, hey, how's your dad's drinking? Is it still bad? Or say, hey, is your mom out of rehab yet? You know what I mean? These aren't things that you should, they should be much more delicate. So now that we've covered the idea of delicate information, one that I find that's very present is sexual orientation. And for me personally, I don't find it a big deal. But that's just me. Maybe you think it's something that's very important, and I'm not saying that it's not important or insignificant in any way, but when someone expresses their sexual orientation to you, given the fact that if they're really nervous about it, or they can be nonchalant about it, it's very depending on the person. But I personally, if my best friend, I've known him for, God, like 10 years. If he came up to me and he said, hey, Dan, you know what? I'm gay. I'd be like, cool. Do you still want to go get tacos? So personally, to me, it's not a huge ordeal. And maybe I'm just the one that feels that way. I'm sure that there's other people who feel that way. And if people are your friends, they will be okay with you. But back to what I was saying before, because this is what happens on Dan's Rants, that I just babble. Back to what I was saying before, is that people will label you whether you like it or not. It can be a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. But that is how we work in society, and I understand that we need to make society change, and we need to be open and more expressive, but we have to still understand that we're still human beings that have to have some form of organization. And it's frustrating at times for not just me, but for other people, that for me to keep things organized in my mind for how screwed up it is, if I know that you have a rougher life, then in my head you're going to be in a position or in an area, in my mind, if we have a room, they're all full of boxes and they're all labeled different ways, you're going to be in a box, in my mind, that, okay, your information has to be held more delicately because you have something that is delicate. You know, in my mind, you're in a back box that says fragile. You know? So, we have to be okay, or how about this? We definitely don't have to do anything, but we should strive to accept people the way they want it to be, but we have to, God, I keep saying have to, we have to strive to also be okay and understand the way that people do things. But we do have to all remember that we are human. We aren't perfect, we are flawed, but we are all beautiful, no matter how we want to look at it, and there's things that we don't like about ourselves, but that's okay. And back to what I said in my last video, life is okay. There's a good side, there's a bad side, and there's this huge mid-range. And in our society, being as progressive as it is, this gray area is expanding more and more and more. So, if you're a person that doesn't like labels, saying, oh, I don't want to be called gay, I'd rather be called, I wouldn't know. Or, you know, I don't want to be called black, I want to be called African American. Or I don't want to be called Chinese, I want to be Asian American, or maybe you can be Chinese American, whether you want to. You know, that's an example of race or orientation, you know. But that may be delicate for someone, but not for someone else. So that is all dependent on the person, the situation, and what ways you look at society. Society is a growing and expanding thing, and minds are changing in the way we look at things now. But we all want to do something different and creative, which is great. That's awesome how we all want to do something that can be on such a great magnitude that we want someone else to look at it and say, hey, that's great. I wish I could do that, or teach me, or share, or do these things. But in some people's minds, you are going to be labeled as an artist, or a drinker, or even a bad person, or a good person, or a great person. But there's going to be labels. And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, it's going to be there. What I have for you guys today, this one's a little ramblish. I apologize. But this was on my mind for a minute when I was doing actually the one yesterday, but that wasn't the topic yesterday. So, and I thought about it a lot while I was at work. So, that's all I got. Like, comment, and subscribe, and Radaka.